I am super concerned about the fate of gaming after playing Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon, because this game is just so much fun. It makes all their games look like absolute garbage. Not really, but hey, it's a fun play on things. Shout out to JK Just Saying for this morning's from this morning's stream, giving us the reverse rage bait title of the day for this video. So we were having a great discussion this morning about Tainted Grail, the things that it's doing well versus the things that other game studios are doing. And I've talked about this in my review and elsewhere. I think the game has a pretty deep RPG. I mean, especially considering this is the first RPG this studio has ever produced with a very small team. It's very impressive what they have here in terms of the mechanics. So we've been talking about in the reviews and other videos the depth of the attributes section with the way strength, endurance, dexterity, spirituality, practicality, and perception all work and how those all fit into the sheet over here. But more importantly, the skill trees. And this is where there's honestly, this is where the replayability comes in, partially from this, because not only do your decisions matter and they impact the game itself and how the fate of Avalon, because you're making decisions along the way about Avalon and whether or not you're dealing with knights and King Arthur and all this other stuff. So not only do those decisions impact your playthrough, but also there are so many combinations of things you can do here where it's such a unique skill tree where this kind of reminds me of like the depth of what you would see, like going back to Starfield as an example, because you had all of the different skill trees where you could put your points. Every game does it differently. So I know, like most recently, we just played Oblivion Remastered, and Elder Scrolls. Bethesda has their own way of doing things with the Elder Scrolls games, also with the Fallout games, and this is a little bit different. I like the idea that you have skill trees that are tied to each one of the stats, which makes it very interesting. So, I'm going stealth archer this time around, but I really want to try a mage. So knowing that I can do that, I would probably want to go spirituality next time. But do I want to go wands and cubes, or do I want to go summoning, or do I just want to say screw that? Do I want to go straight out for the combat? Like, there's a lot of different ways it could spec, and like going over into strength. Do I want to go two-handed weapons, one-handed weapon? Do I want to go unarmed and be the monk? Like, there's all these different ways that you can play, or do I want to maybe go heavy on the practicality side for crafting and trading and stuff? Lots of, there's a lot here in terms of what the team has put into the game for their first title ever. It is rough around the edges. They put out a tweet I noticed this afternoon. As of this recording, Wake and Realm had a tweet out saying, "Thanks for the support, everybody. We realize that performance on consoles is a little bit rough. We are working on getting as many patches out as quickly as we can." And I think that's admirable. Any company, and we talked about this earlier today in the initial review, talking about how, like, I think people have forgotten what it is to be an indie studio releasing your first game ever, and a lot of people have never played a first-time game from an indie studio before. And we were talking about Kingdom Come Deliverance and how that launch was super rough, but other people were bringing up like The Witcher, like when the first Witcher game came out, how rough the first Witcher game was and how they refined up until, but even the Witcher 3 launch was pretty rough. The launch of Skyrim was not as polished as the game is today, so a lot of people have forgotten, or they just may have never played indie games when they launched, and so yeah, there's a lot going here. The music's great, the soundtrack's great. The play on things this morning is that we were having a discussion where someone said, this game, oh crap, I need to run. No! That guy's bad. I don't want to fight him. I don't think I'm going to be able to travel because I'm going to have to just load my game. It's nighttime and he found me. I was just standing there talking. No! Yeah, I'm just going to load my game. He's like impossible to fight at this level. Anyway, the joke we were talking about this morning was like, people were saying like this game is it's making all AAA games look bad, and I had to to go back on that and say that's not true because we've already played this year some really banger AAA games. The most recent was Doom: The Dark Ages. Um, that was an amazing AAA experience. That you know, that's just one example of AAA games um, that we've played this year. I think that some AAA companies um, have they will occasionally overreach, but there are far more good AAA games coming out than there are good indie games, and I could say that with 100% certainty because I get slammed. I'm not a very big content creator or streamer, but I get every single day. I get 30 to 50 emails pitching me some crappy little indie game built by one, two, three, five people that's absolute not something I would ever consider playing. It's hot garbage, and the people building it have great ideas, but they have no clue how to put together a game. And the reality is that when it comes to indie studios, there are far more bad indie products being put out than there are bad AAA products. There are also many AA gems like this game that come out, which are like, hey, this is a really solid indie game. This reminds me a lot of how, when Kingdom Come Deliverance came out for the first time, and it was really rough around the edges, but we could all see the core of what that game was offering. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. And this game has that core. I see a lot of early like Morrowind and Oblivion here, and I like what I see. Um, yeah, I'm on the Xbox Series X, and I for the most part I don't really have any complaints about performance. There's some occasional screen tearing, but and frame drops here and there, but the performance has otherwise been pretty solid. I've seen better performance from this game than I've seen from other games. So it's to me it's just one of those things where performance isn't high on my list. Like I have no problems with like going back and playing Red Dead Redemption 2 at 30 frames on my PS5, and I know some people will rant about how dare Rockstar not upgrade that game to 4K with 60 frames. It's an absolute travesty. I can't believe I have to play this game at 30 frames. It doesn't bother me. Like frame rates are not the end of the world for me. I'm more, for me it's more about bugs, and I haven't really found any bugs in the game so far. So it's been a pretty flawless experience there so far. But the idea of that, I'm super concerned about the fate of gaming after playing Tainted Grail. Like we were chuckling about that for a while this morning during the stream, just because a lot of people are, they'll use an indie game like this to prop up indie games and say, this is where all the innovation happens. And wouldn't it be great if more AAA companies would take risks? And AAA companies do take risks every day. Like a game like this put together by 40, 50 people costs significantly less than a game that's put together by a team of 500 people or 250 people. The financial risks are always greater the more people you have on board. So it's not to say that AAA games are better than indie games. It's just that the context of the full conversation is important to have when you're talking about games like this. But I will say, what this game has done very well is go back to the roots of what made like Morrowind and like Oblivion. What were the things that those games did that captured the audience that they captured at the time, and can that be replicated in a modern environment? Somebody left a very good comment today and said that Tainted Grail is getting away with a lot because it's a first-time game from an independent studio. Because if Bethesda or another company had released something that had the performance issues and the little rough around the edges things that we see here and the jank and everything else, they would be getting crucified. But people are giving this game a pass because it's a brand new game from a new studio. And I don't disagree with that. I think it's a great starting point for a conversation about the importance of understanding the context of video game development as a whole. Games like this are a breath of fresh air, but I play on any given month, I'll play 3 to 5 games every single month. So I'm playing a lot of games every single year. And I see a lot of good. I see some bad. I know some people have said on my channel that you only ever play games that you review positively. I'm like, that's not true. You haven't ever. You need to pay more attention. Go look at my first impressions playlist. There's a lot of stuff I try, and maybe I get 1 or 2 play sessions in, and I decide it's not for me, and it stays in the first impressions list. The ones that make it through to the live streams are the ones that I'm having fun enough with that I'm willing to play, and of course I'm going to give those positive reviews and talk about those positively because they were fun enough that I wanted to play them in the first place. I wouldn't be streaming the games if they were dog shit. So I think it's an important conversation to have in the context of there are lots of good games coming out. This is a pretty good game. It's definitely one of the best RPGs I've played in a long time, and but it is good enough that it's got me super concerned for the fate of gaming after playing this game. Because how is anybody else ever going to be able to hold a candle to this? Anyway, shout out to JK Just Saying for that inspiration for this video. We'll be back again tomorrow with more Tainted Grail, bright and early, 5 a.m. Central on the streams for YouTube and Twitch. There's a playlist below with guides and discussions and the playlists and beyond. See you in the next one, everybody. Stay safe and happy gaming.